morning, good afternoon, good evening. I've raised the issue of Chamisa lied to the people about plugging the vote rigging loopholes to con people to participate in the elections, only to give ZANU-PF legitimacy and perpetuate the people's suffering. What has been disappointing is how some of those people who were conned are refusing to accept that Chamisa is a liar. And Chamisa himself is coming back now and wants to give the impression that there was nothing wrong with what he did. And it can be business as usual. I think that concept must be dealt with decisively. We as a nation are a failed nation because we've failed to hold free, fair, and credible elections these last 45 years. We really need to deal with the problem of rigged elections. And in the opposition, MDC, CCC, we have had the party that has, first of all, failed to implement reforms when they had the opportunity to do so. And then secondly, they have been participating in flawed elections to give ZANU-PF legitimacy. And that's perpetuate the dictatorship. We have to deal with this problem. Here is a video clip of the latest. Chamisa coming back. This was supposed to be a Christmas charity ball, and he couldn't resist talking about politics and his next move. My apologies.
But that is the name that is known in heaven. Is my predecessor, Dr. Richard Morgan Tsvangirai, ran his race. He never betrayed people. Not one day. And that's why you see them scared, even when we are silent. For the past 2 years, I've not uttered a word. But every day, I dominate their minds. Thank you, ZANU-PF, for allowing me to live in your heads rent-free. Here what I. Vamwana tita ma spokesperson angu. Wakatotakura nemukadzi. Unondiziva ini. Ini nemadira ndeta kwa gutu. Woti ndatakura kuenda kuno ini. Ipuwe mushi. Be rest assured that whatever I do, if I have not told you, is because I consider it not materially relevant. But if it is materially relevant, I will tell you. When I get tired, I will tell you. When I feel I can't take it anymore, I will tell you. But as far as I'm concerned, I have the energy, I have the power, I have the commitment to go forward. And God willing, we are going to win it. God does not allow a person to suffer the way we have suffered. And we are kids who have suffered. We have suffered. But I know one thing. When we have suffered the way we have suffered, God will remember us. All he wants is our obedience to him and to look unto him. So yes, I acknowledge our business people here.
Ben, what do you think of that one?
Good day to you all. Well, I think it's official now. We can safely say he's back, and he's stated he's back. But what is insulting here is the fact that we shouldn't discuss about what happened, the past failings. If I haven't told you, it's irrelevant to you. That kind of closes the door for any questions and answers. It's let's go as as though, and pretend as though nothing has happened. you know I mean, look, the evidence is there. You promised a lot of things, and you even invoked God, and again you're invoking God. And I think the use of God here is also to hush up people. We know Zimbabweans are very religious, and using the name of God opens up doors for manipulation. And this is exactly the door that Chamisa has opened. Now, because God is in it, we can no longer question it. And we've seen, ZANU-PF have used the same avenue. Then the question now is what differentiates, the two groups? It's unfortunate that, some people will just turn a blind eye, and will actually not only just turn a blind eye, but will fight you tooth and nail just for asking the question, why did he lie?
Well, to me, one of the things that has been annoying about Nelson Chamisa is his refusal to answer questions. The issue of lying that he had plugged the vote rigging loopholes cannot be dodged. That demands an explanation. He told the people that he was preparing his cabinet. God's plan was that Triple C was going to win and win big, and God's plan does not fail. I believe that the 2 million or so Zimbabweans who participated in the 2023 elections did so because they genuinely believed that Triple C was going to win. Little did they know that Triple C, like MDC before it, was participating in these flawed elections, knowing fully well that the process is flawed, that ZANU-PF was rigging it, and that participating would only give ZANU-PF legitimacy. They did all these things knowing fully well that ZANU-PF was giving a few gravy train seats to those parties that were prepared to participate. It was enticing them to participate. I've often quoted this quotation, and it's from David Coulthard's book. It is true. He was writing about the 2013 elections. MDC leaders have known all along that the process is so flawed, so illegal, that the only logical step to do was to withdraw. But they will not withdraw out of greed. For Chamisa to pretend somehow that this did not happen, and he can con people to participate in an election and then go away for a few months and then come back and they've forgotten about it and it's back to square one. This time we have to make sure that that does not happen. We owe it to ourselves to make sure that that does not happen.
It's going to be a very difficult task, Wilbert, because I want to give you an example. I was having a discussion with one of my group members, in a political group, and we were discussing about Chamisa's comeback and what he had promised before, and then in his defense, and I think this is a defense that most people just use because they really cannot defend that the position that he lied. They cannot bring out the facts because we have the videos, we have the evidence. And in his defense, he says, tell me of a politician that doesn't lie. And I was disgusted at that. Is it acceptable to be lied to just because politicians are liars? And he says, tell me which politician hasn't lied. And I'm saying, look, I have seen politicians get booted out of office for far less, breaking, COVID restrictions. You're out of the office. If you ever think of democracy and you do not think of accountability, you are in the wrong shop. You are in the wrong area because the two are always close together. Leaders should be accountable for what they say, what they do, because they represent us. And that is how democracy works. And then my question is, if we can let Chamisa get away, we might as well let ZANU-PF get away, because after all, politicians lie. It's a very sad position that Zimbabweans are willing to defend the same evil individuals that are making them suffer, that are responsible for our suffering. And I totally agree with you when you said the 2 million that voted for Chamisa, they sincerely believed what he had said. And to cap it all, they believed that God had ordered what he had said because he had invoked God into it. And we all know when God is in something, it never fails. And that was a lie, because now we are saying God has failed. We cannot deny and keep denying the facts. It's not only cowardly, but it is appalling. We can never expect to move forward or find the democratic path as long as we keep defending the evil, leaders that we have around us. We should be pressurizing them, and by pressurizing them, we are also getting them to deliver more for us and better themselves as well. That's how it's supposed to work, not defending stupidity.
Well, the argument that, yes, Chamisa lied, tell me a politician who doesn't lie, is can only be dismissed with the contempt it rightly deserves. Because if you know that you are going to be allowed to vote, or you are being conned to go and vote with somebody who knows, who tells you that he's going to win those elections, and then it turns out that he was lying to you. He knew that ZANU-PF was rigging those elections. He also knew that by calling you to participate, you will only be giving ZANU-PF legitimacy and perpetuate your own suffering for his own selfish greed. It's bad enough that you believe that stupid, idiotic lie. But it's unforgivable for you to be conned again and again and again. Nelson Chamisa and company lied to the people in 2018. It was the same lie. MDC alliance, they claimed they had stringent measures to stop ZANU-PF rigging the elections. People believed it. They participated. Only at the end of the day, Chamisa had to admit that yes, the elections were rigged. And the people had just perpetuated their own suffering. The same is done 2023. And right now, as we saw in that video clip, is gearing to do exactly the same thing for 2028. The statement here, which we have said at the beginning, was that Chamisa is a liar, corrupt, incompetent, and a conman. If you know that, and you allow yourself to be conned, then there is something seriously wrong with you. Particularly when you're looking at a situation here where Zimbabwe is a failed state, because for the last 45 years, we've been stuck with this ZANU-PF dictatorship because they rigged the elections. In the last 25 years of which, ZANU-PF has managed to hang on to power with the connivance of MDC and CCC. The issue here is that the people themselves should realize the role they are playing in perpetuating their own suffering. And if you do not have the intelligence to realize that you are being used to perpetuate your own suffering, then there's something seriously wrong with you. Because the man is coming back now, and he wants to pretend that he never lied to you in 2023, and it's business as usual. And you're back to supporting him. Then you deserve to suffer. But I think it is important here to understand that the right to vote entails, like all other rights, it comes with a duty to others. You cannot keep on blindly supporting somebody like Chamisa at the expense of the people. the nation. Ben, do you want to give your concluding remarks?
In conclusion, I would want to say they are the faithful few that have opened their eyes and have seen that Chamisa is all up to no good. He is but taking advantage of desperate Zimbabweans out there. And I commend them and I say, well done. Now we can start proceeding, to the real business, which is finding that democratic path. Those that have refused and will continue supporting Chamisa, no matter how much evidence shows that he is a conman, like you said, he is a manipulator, like you said, you are now responsible for dragging everybody down. Because ZANU PF would want us to think that the savior is here. And that's all it takes. Work with Chamisa. You get conned to participate in rigged elections. And the worst thing is, even before you vote, you already know that ZANU PF will rig those elections. And you already know the results. And he will lose. And Chamisa will disappear. Wait for another opportune time and come back. And you'll still find it very easy to convince the foolish, the foolish individuals, because they refuse to see facts. And unfortunately, these are the same individuals in their many numbers that are perpetuating all of us suffering. It's unfair, it's unfortunate, but it should be said. Not only is ZANU PF dragging the country down, Chamisa Chete Chete supporters are also dragging the country down, because through them, ZANU PF is getting legitimacy by their participation in rigged elections. That's all I can say. Thank you.
Well, my concluding remark, I would like to remind the people of Zimbabwe out there that Chamisa is caught up in his own web of lies. When he said he had plugged the vote rigging loopholes to stop ZANU PF rigging the elections, he knew that was a lie. And so he had to come up with new lies to try to cover up for that lie. When he said hashtag God is in it, he knew that was a lie. And he has tried to come up with more lies to cover up for it. He claimed he was God's anointed. That too was a lie. Anointed by who? When? And when did God start anointing people who have got a mountain of evidence to show that they are corrupt, incompetent, liars, and conmen? That is not the God I know. Oh, what a tangled web we weave when first we practice to deceive. These are a quotation from the Scottish author Sir Walter Scott. He was right. Chamisa is a liar. He is a conman. He is corrupt. He is incompetent. He is just hoping that many Zimbabweans out there would not notice his history. But I think by insisting and coming back, he is no more than the emperor in Hans Christian Andersen spoke the emperor's clothes, who, when it was revealed that he was naked, he at least had the good sense to accept the reality and walk away. I think in our Zimbabwean emperor, Chamisa, he is determined to soldier on, pretending he is not a liar, pretending that he never conned the people, pretending that he is competent, pretending that he is not corrupt. But the truth cannot be hidden forever. I can tell you now, Chamisa is not going to have a walk in the park if he thinks he is going to con the people of Zimbabwe just as easily as he did in 2018 and 2023. 2028 is going to be a tough call because there are many people out there who will be reminding him at every turn who he is, that he's corrupt, that he's incompetent, that he is a liar, and that he's a conman. Watch this space. Thank you very much. Have a good evening.